Our Reformed tradition over the centuries has turned to three documents as the touchstones for teaching the faith. We recently walked through the Apostles' Creed, one of these three documents. The other two both come from the Bible itself, the Ten Commandments and the Lord's Prayer. For the next several days, I want to walk through the Ten Commandments and also look at verses from Deuteronomy and Leviticus that Jesus cited as summaries of the law. I've touched on all of these things before, but it never hurts to return to them from time to time. So let me begin with a question. Do you worship any gods besides God? Before you answer, let's talk about it. Hello, I'm Stuart Baskin, pastor of First Presbyterian Church of Tyler, Texas. And this is your daily devotional for Thursday, July 10th, 2025. The Ten Commandments were originally, in all likelihood, pretty short. Some of the commandments still retain that fundamental character, but others have come to include what you might think of as some commentary attached to them to help explain why they're important. The first commandment, like most of the commandments, includes a little bit of this kind of commentary by way of introduction leading to the commandment itself, which is, I am the Lord your God, who brought you out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of slavery. You shall have no other gods before me. The commandment begins with God's self-identification and a reminder of what God has done for the people. God brought them out of Egypt, where they had become slaves under the pharaohs. I won't rehearse the whole Exodus story here, but it is worth reading through as a reminder of the introduction to this commandment, which leads to the commandment itself. No other gods. You shall have no other gods before me. The Hebrew text literally says, you shall have no other or bring no other gods before my face. It means that not only are the people not to recognize, let alone worship any other gods besides Yahweh, but they must not cavort with other gods in front of God. As John Calvin put it, it is like one adulterous spouse parading his or her lover in front of his or her marital partner. It is a brazen display of infidelity. Seems pretty simple though, doesn't it? But it was perhaps the most often ignored commandment of all. Even a cursory read through the Old Testament reveals that the worship of other gods alongside this God was one of the two most egregious sins of the people generation after generation. Indeed, it is one of the two fundamental indictments of the prophets against both the kings of Israel and against the people themselves. With such a direct commandment not to have any other gods then, why did the people continually ignore it? And for that matter, do we continue in the long tradition of ignoring this commandment? The answer to both questions is deceptively simple. If you asked any good and faithful Israelite, they would have affirmed the commandment. They just didn't see that making sacrifices to other gods was a particular problem. After all, they would have reasoned, other gods, though less powerful, still had power. Why not try to appease them to stay in their good graces? For this God may be seen as ruler over the weather, and that God may be seen to affect the fertility of farm animals. Yes, of course, our God is all-powerful, but what can it hurt to hedge our bets a little bit by offering sacrifices to these other gods, especially if we continue to make sacrifices to Yahweh? So they hedged their bets. And if we're brutally honest with ourselves, we probably continue to do it today. Oh, we don't any longer make sacrifices to Baal or to any other ancient gods, but we do place our trust in other powers besides God. Wealth, nation, race, all of these and more become for us objects of devotion alongside our God, to say nothing of superstitions. I'm often amazed that otherwise good and faithful Christian people frequently turn to horoscopes. For what is a horoscope but a system of belief that places its trust in the positions of stars and planets in the sky, as if they have any effect on our lives? To boil it down to its essence, this commandment to have no other gods reminds us that there can be only one central power in which we place our ultimate faith and trust. And as much as we say that God is it, a keen observer of human behavior quickly discovers all of the other objects in which we also place our trust. The command is to have no other gods, no other powers that in any way compete with God for our faith and trust. And as simple as it sounds, it remains perhaps the most difficult commandment to obey. Tomorrow, no idols. But for now, may God continue to bless you and keep you in all that you do this day and in all the days ahead.